One of the most shameful and far-reaching tragedies of the Moroccan occupation was the attempted destruction of the intellectual life of a nation. The attack on the University of Sankore at Timbuktu and the exile of its black scholars was an act of inexcusable arrogance. Moroccan troops and their white mercenary leaders literally declared war on all institutions and intellectuals. In 1594, the great scholar Ahmad Baba was exiled to Morocco. He had been the last chancellor at Sankore. Ahmad Baba was the author of more than 40 books in Arabic ranging from the Arabic grammar to astronomy. His life is a brilliant example of the range and depth of West African intellectual activity before the colonial era. With the loss of all its scholars, businessmen, judges, and men of religion, the light of knowledge and education went out in the western Sudan. Moroccan soldiers robbed the houses of valuables, including maps and manuscripts containing the history of western Sudan. Revolts against the invaders and further suppressions that followed worsened matters, as did internal revolts among the subject people. The royal family that the Moroccans found on the throne of Songhai was still trying to save the country from the worst aspects of invaders' wrath. Ishak II had been banished because of his opposition. His brother, Muhammad Gail, became the next Askir. He pledged allegiance to the Sultan of Morocco, but the Moroccans did not completely trust him. Nevertheless, during the Great Famine of 1592, they were forced to rely heavily on him for their food supplies. Mahmoud Abim Surjan, the governor, asked the new Askir to prove his loyalty by sending the much-needed food to the Moroccan army. The Muhammad Gail did a good faith. He ordered all the crops of the Hausa side of the river to be cut and brought to the Moorish camp. Then Pasha Mahmoud Ibn Surjan chose to test his loyalty again. He asked Muhammad Gail to call the local kings and men of affairs to swear obedience to the Sultan of Morocco. This was done, and the assembled men were murdered without warning. Muhammad Gail now knew that none of the Moroccans could be trusted. He continued to go through the motions of being their puppet while passing information to his rebel brother, Askir Nu. Nu had not accepted Moroccan rule. He was an astute leader and a fighter. Some of the fragmented army of Songhai rallied around him and helped to keep up continued harassment on the enemy army. The people of Songhai, in defiance of the Moroccan overlords, declared him Askir and said that they would obey no other ruler. He was wise enough to avoid giving his enemies a chance to open battle. The hills, swamps, and thick bush of Borgu, a region in northern Nigeria, became his encampment. He attacked the Moroccan outposts at night and withdrew to the forests and the hills. The people of Borgu did not particularly like the army of Songhai, which at previous times had conquered them, but they united and fought with Askir Nu because they hated the Moroccans still more, and like the people of Songhai wanted to drive out the Moroccans. The pressure and the harassment inflicted to Askir Nu forced Muhammad Ibn Surjan to turn once more to the Sultan of Morocco for help. He complied that the tsetse fly was killing his horses and that disease and bad food and water were causing many deaths among his men. The Sultan sent more soldiers and supplies and continued to wait for the treasures and gold that he had long expected. At the end of the 2 years, Mahmoud Imam Surjan had neither large amounts of gold nor news of great success to send to his Sultan. He was forced to give up the fight against Askir Nu for a while, and he returned to Timbuktu. There he faced more disappointments. The people living in Timbuktu had rebelled against the Moorish guard left to hold the city. The troublesome Tuaregs were raiding the Niger Valley again. Ibn Surjan, now an angry and frustrated man, suspected that the educated people were the cause of the rebellions, and he conceived a plan to punish them further. An announcement was made that all the homes in the town would once again be searched for weapons, except the houses belonging to the descendants of the revered local Cadi, which meant, in effect, the houses of the educated class. Hearing this, the rest of the citizenry took their values to the unexpected houses for safekeeping. Then the Pasha ordered all the holy men descended to go to the great mosque of Sankore to swear obedience to the Sultan of Morocco. Only after the group had gathered at the mosque did they discover the governor's very cunning plan. These men, who had lived in comfort most of their lives, were put in chains and sent together with their wives and children across the desert to Morocco to be sold as slaves. Few of them survived the journey. Mahmoud Ibn Surjan derived no benefit for his cruelty. Soon he was once again in trouble with the Sultan of Morocco. Out of all the vast riches that had last obtained from the rape of Timbuktu and other major cities in Songhai, he had sent the Sultan only 100,000 mithals of gold. Though this was a large amount, the Sultan thought that it should be much larger. In his anger, he decided that he could no longer trust Ibn Surgeon. After ordering that he be arrested and put to death, the Sultan sent another governor. The news reached Mahmud ibn Surgeon before the new governor, Mansur Abdul Rahim, arrived. He left Timbuktu and decided to risk more honorable fate and continue fight against his old enemies. Askia knew. Mahmud ibn Surgeon met his death in the city of Zaria, located in present-day northern Nigeria. Over the years, Moroccan pashas were either poisoned or forced to leave the Sudan after failing to bring the area under control. The first contingent of invaders from Morocco who were still in the Sudan chose to elect their own officers. Some had married into the local population and had local loyalties. Some had fought fiercely among themselves over the control of what was left in Songhai. In certain ways, this condition would still prevail when the French arrived in this area during the later part of the 19th century.